the new knees look like?
New knees are great.
Are they? Good, I'm glad to hear that.
Call the roll.
Capron, Greckin.
Here.
Moore, Scott,
Here.
Waters.
I move we go into closed session of the city council, discuss strategy with council about matters where litigation is imminent because public disclosure would be likely to prejudice or disadvantage the position of the city in that litigation.
Second.
Greckin.
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. Tell them not to turn the,
Just point to it when you want it.
I move we return to open session.
Second.
Greckin,
Aye.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters.
I move we adjourn the closed session.
Second.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters. Aye. Greckin.
Aye.
Call the roll, please.
Greckin,
Here.
Moore.
Here.
Scott,
Here.
Waters. Here. Capron.
We stand for a moment of silent prayer followed by the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a proclamation today, and I'm going to ask Mayor Pro Tem Dan Moore to read it. I had a couple knees replaced 3 weeks ago, and I'm not as mobile as I would like to be right now, so.
You all here for that? Come on out. All of you. Please. I met you early, didn't I?
Yep.
Got a pretty good grip. Don't let him shake it too hard, Dan.
Okay. Here's our commendation. Whereas the 2018 Special Olympics USA Games will be held in Seattle, Washington, July 1 through 6, 2018. More than 4,000 athletes and coaches representing 50 state programs in the District of Columbia will compete in 14 Olympic-type team and individual sports. And whereas Sioux City West Middle, Sioux City West High, and Sioux City Knights are sending 6 athletes and Coach Troy Betzworth to the USA National Games. And whereas J.J. Ray Beckner, Estrella Tejada, Ann Newton, and Ron Schmidt comprise a unified 4-person bowling team representing Sioux City and the Games, the only bowling team for Team Iowa. And whereas Mitch Betzworth will be attending the Games as a powerlifting athlete. And whereas Billy Haberman will be attending the Games to compete in tennis. Now therefore, I, Robert E. Scott, Mayor of the City of Sioux City, Iowa, on behalf of the City Council, do hereby commend J.J. Ray Beckner, Estrella Tejada, Ann Newton, Ron Schmidt, Mitch Betzworth, and Billy Haberman, along with their coaches and families for this amazing accomplishment. Good luck at the U.S. National Games. The U.S. Games showcase the abilities of athletes and the impact of Special Olympics through world-class competition, inspirational experiences, and modeling inclusion for all.
I want you to know when I got out of the hospital 3 weeks ago, I wore your Special Olympics shirt on the way out the door.
There you go. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Congrats. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Good luck.
You're welcome.
Good luck, no doubt.
Thank you.
We'll go to interviews. Rick Mullen for the Airport Board of Trustees. Rick, tell us a little bit about why you want to serve today.
Good afternoon,
Good afternoon. Hi, Rick.
Mr. Gretkin. Good to see you. Mr. Scott, you're going to love those new knees.
Yeah, I hope so.
Physical therapy is important.
I'm doing it.
Good.
Tell us why you want to serve on the airport board of trustees.
Well, I'm a big fan of the Sioux City Airport. My wife and I travel quite a bit, and whenever possible, we fly out of Sioux City. In fact, in the last year, we've traveled in 10 countries, much to my surprise. But we like Sioux City, and I would love to see our airport grow. I can remember back in the 60s and 70s when we used to have 4 or 5 airlines and a lot of flights, and how much better that was for the community. And while I don't think that's likely to happen anytime soon, I think there is room for improvement, and I would like to help be there and maybe see some positive changes.
Have you served before on this?
No, I've served on the Convention Center Auditorium Tourism
Right.
Board.
Okay. Any questions for him?
Just to say thank you for applying.
Yeah.
You've been very active previously, and we appreciate that, and happy to welcome you to rejoin us again.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Okay.
Thank you. Next, we will go to the Events Facilities Interim Advisory Board, Tim Bottero.
Hello. Well, I recently have stepped down from a couple of other commitments boards that I was on for 25 years, and so I've had some time open up. And I haven't served on a city board since the Library Board of Trustees, which the mayor will probably remember. He capped my service on that one. And so all of us remember those days. And, you know, we're at a pivotal point with our tourism and events in town with what's happened in Sioux Falls and Lincoln and area markets. And so we have to figure out a way to get acts in that will draw people and fill our hotels and our restaurants and our other businesses in town. And I think that we've got some great facilities and we've got a great story to tell. And I can tell you people around the state of Iowa are very jealous of things like the Hard Rock and what we've got going. And firsthand dealing with trial lawyers, they come to Sioux City during the summer and they see people up and down the streets at all of the venues you can go to, and they're just amazed. And some of them come back with their spouses to take advantage of concerts and things. So I just like to offer my services to see what I can do to help the help the city to grow. I've been very involved in all kinds of organizations. So.
Sounds good. Would you be, I assume, Tim, a member of, because the way that the code is written, to break it down into 9 members in different categories, you would be a member of as a resident of Sioux City?
Yes.
At large? Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Tim, any initial ideas or thoughts as to what you'd like to see, or maybe ways we can improve? Or
Well, I think we've got a new service or a new provider that's running the event facilities. I think we have to listen to them first as to why they think they can just make us distinguish from bigger markets and get people here. I think with the Marriott coming downtown, that will help for the convention center. We've got a number of festivals in town, and I'm involved with one of them. And I think there are things to look at that. And I think we should be going after some more aimed at our cultural, our diversity, some things we can bring in entertainment. That could draw people from all over the region.
okay. Thanks for applying.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you. Dick Cruz?
My main reason is because of my background of the stuff that I've been involved in, which has been entertainment, housing for 10 years, and a few other communities, that with this experience, I just felt that I could contribute the business side of it to the new board.
Appreciate your involvement, Dick, and all that you do for the community as well.
And Dick, I would have the same question. Any off-the-cuff initial things you
Yeah.
see you'd like to improve or work on, or?
We definitely need to think out of the box. I think too often we think about stuff that happens in our backyard, and I don't think it hurts to go visit other communities and see what they have. If it's working for them, it certainly could work for us.
Dick, was it your convertible that Dan and I rode in the Morningside days?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had to keep Dan down. He just,
They get their
Really?
feet on the back seat like they normally do.
Right?
Parade, Dick.
we really appreciate it. And I assume you'd be a resident at large too then?
I have been, yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks
All
for
right,
applying.
thanks, Dick.
Appreciate it. Susan Unger.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity. I believe I could bring to this board extensive community and statewide volunteerism already, having served on multiple nonprofit boards and being in a leadership role on all of those. I'm currently sit on a state board. I've done district advisory. I won't bore you with my resume, but I think I've learned a lot through that as well as leading my own board. One of the things that I think is important because we do have a new management company with Spectra. I think they first need to understand our culture. I think it's very unique in Sioux City, and I don't mean that in a bad way, in a very positive way. We had a lot of concern when Hard Rock came in as a community that that would divvy up the pie, and I think we learned that all ships rise, and I haven't seen the numbers, but I believe from attending many of these events that we've done a much better job, and I think we need to keep that bar going to raise it even further with our new entertainment management with Spectra Entertainment, because I do think they need to understand what the community wants. The diversity is important, but a variety of different things are. I would also share personally, I think you may or may not know, but for years I have been an ambassador for the community. When any new executive comes to town, I typically go out and I meet them and talk to them about all that Siouxland has to offer. And I found that there's only one other individual in Sioux City that I'm sure you all know, who actually talked about the good things that are happening here. And so I think we need a community campaign to get all of our community members to be out there saying, this is your community, not just, if you've seen the take a tour on your own, be a tourist in your own town. That's the kind of thing I think we need people to understand, and that goes with that tourism and economic development and all of the entertainment that we're doing. So I think you're on a threshold as a council and a community. There's a lot of good things happening. I would love to be a part of that change.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You touched on kind of my question, otherwise
I hope I answered it before you had to ask
exactly.
it.
You anticipated I was probably going to go there, so
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Susan. Doug Strobing for the Historic Preservation Commission. Oh, there he
Good afternoon.
is. How are you?
Hi, Doug.
Doing well, thank you. I haven't always had an interest on the historical side of what Sioux City and the buildings had to offer. I appreciate the fact that we have done a lot in the past years as far as they're doing the warehouses and changing them back into the establishments. Today, I had the opportunity to go visit State Steel and see that operation firsthand, and what a neat building that is, and glad that it's preserved. Had always had an interest in the preservation and reusing of these community buildings. It's a sad day that I remember when they took down the Martins building. I think that even though we have a nice building in its place, that was quite a building to lose. So I look forward to the opportunity to possibly do something in the future with the Historical Preservation Committee.
Questions?
No.
Appreciate you applying.
I'm glad you
Thanks, Doug.
applied for this commission, Doug. I think you'd make a good member of it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
right.
Doug.
Thanks.
We'll go on to the items 3 through 22D, which today is a consent agenda. Address for the record. If you want to speak on an item not on the agenda, please come up under citizen concerns. I will move the consent agenda.
Second?
3 are readings of the city council minutes of May 21st, 2018. 4 is a motion acknowledging the Board of Adjustment actions of May 22nd, 2018. 5 are resolutions declaring intent to place historic Route 20 signage on city-maintained roads.
I just had one question on that. As far as future correspondence, are you going to take the lead then? Or Marty, or I know Marty, I think, was reaching out to them as well.
City manager's office will will provide the resolution to
Perfect.
that group.
Okay, I just wanted to, thank you.
6 is a resolution amending resolution number 2017-118, establishing fees for ambulance transport services provided by fire rescue.
I had a question on that as well. Afternoon, gentlemen.
Afternoon, Council.
Say, I just wanted to know, really just about, was this kind of in line with SPI? Did SPI have these figures? How did we arrive at them?
Actually, I don't even know where they were. The only time I got involved with the SPI figures was when they had to submit things to accreditation. So I couldn't really tell you the numbers. I know that, I mean, these are,
Charges were, you mean?
I believe these are probably a little bit more. All we're trying to do on this is recoup the costs associated with that and not have any additional costs to the city for these services when they're requested.
State mandates that our rates be based on cost. So we base the costs on our highest possible overtime costs, personnel costs there. Yeah.
So are you doing the Tyson now, or are they doing it?
We don't do the Tyson. This is the Hard Rock, but it would apply to all other venues that we would do.
And that was kind of what I was wondering too, is what the threshold was.
Basically,
when it determines whether someone has to have it. I mean.
Yeah, we look at each contract case by case and whether or not we can handle it and whether or not we feel we have the personnel willing to do it, you know. And at this point in time, this being the first one, I think our people view it as an opportunity, you know, to work some extra hours.
Yeah. When do we have to, though, for special events? Does anyone know that? Or, you know what I mean, as far as security and then obviously with medical, is there a rule of over so many people?
Typically leagues require it, and maybe the mayor can speak more to this than I can, but typically leagues will require that, you know, like NAIA may require that Morningside football have an ambulance on site at all games.
Yeah.
That kind of a thing.
But I didn't know of, like, I don't know, say Art Splash or Asian Fest or anything, you know what I mean? Like what that threshold is.
Some of those may be subject to, you know, what their insurance policies and things like that may specify. I think with Iowa, like the high school games and so on, I think they're required, if I'm not mistaken, to have certain medical coverage at those, but I guess I don't know about the rest of it.
The city-sponsored events, we put somebody there, and obviously we won't bill ourselves, but things like Saturday in the Park and so forth, those do get billed.
And I don't think there's any state law.
And we're confident these are in line kind of with industry standard, or at least recouping our costs, like you were saying.
Yes.
Okay. And then if you want to stay up, I had similar questions, I guess, for the next
I figured.
item as well.
Well,
Nice that they're right in order.
and Chief, I was going to ask, with respect to the dollar amounts that you have listed and to include 6 for the hazmat incidents, are you aware of what other larger cities in the state of Iowa do, and are these prices consistent with what?
They're in line, they all share.
Okay.
Which one are you on?
Both 5 and 6 still trying, or 6 and 7, I guess it is. Just wanting, with respect to the charges that we're recommending, are they in line with what other agencies do or other municipalities in the state?
6 was easy because it's simply based on our overtime rates. Number 7, the hazardous materials for the gas leaks. There are several hazardous materials regions in the state of Iowa, and we're comparable with all those charges. We share that data with each other, and they're all pretty much the same.
Okay, thank you.
But we've never charged for this.
Yeah.
What we found on the gas leaks was just simply put, over the last couple years, the number of times that we're going out on these has escalated. And we're talking about like gas mains, big events like South Lakeport, like Hamilton Boulevard events, where we're there literally all day, and we tie up 3/4 of the department for that whole day. We know that there's an opportunity through our hazardous materials billing to recoup the costs of particularly bringing people back to cover the rest of the calls in the city. So we just wanted to show you what kind of call numbers we're on and the kind of man hours that we're talking about here, and show that it's possible for us to recoup some of those costs. We are not talking about, you know, your homeowner in their yard. Those small events like that take us very little time. We cut resources loose very quickly. So if somebody damages a gas line on their property, you know, that's just not a big event for us.
And I appreciate you saying that, Chief, because that was some of my concern too. In reading this, I'm like, geez, you know, I'm going to be asking homeowners or something for the $2,000 per hour. They're not going to be able to really provide that.
That's not the purpose of this at all.
Equally important, why do you think the numbers are up over the years?
I think we've just had a lot more construction, and I think particularly in terms of utilities construction, and there's just a lot of boring incidents. Those are the couple big ones that we've had have been due to, the under-street boring type things.
Those lanes are marked though, aren't they?
Yeah, well, they mark them, but they get hit, so.
And are we hoping that this is somewhat a deterrent? I mean, I agree, it's just troubling that those incidents are up so high.
Well, in the past several years, you said if you would have sent a fee or cost, it would have been what, 600, was it 640,000, remember?
Yeah,
Like 10 years.
Over 10 years. I mean, and we have to pay for what you're doing for the all-day
Right.
events. I mean, it's important that you're there all day. So we're just trying to recoup those costs.
It was just important for us to make sure the public understood that we're not talking about homeowners. We're not talking about the guy that pulls his stove out and pops the gas line or, those kind of things, or digs up a line in his yard type thing. These are major construction activity type things.
And kind of in line with what, were you done? I didn't mean to interrupt. With what Pete was saying too with the other municipalities, are they charging these as well? I mean, they're all on the same line.
We will be the first in the state on this one, but I did receive 2 calls last week from chiefs that are looking to put it in front of their council in the next month. So they're running into the same thing. There's just more construction, it seems like, in the whole state of Iowa. And of course, with that comes more of these boring operations and excavations, and they're hitting gas lines. So.
That's all I have, gentlemen.
Okay.
I want to make sure your union is in support of this, because they have a history of you coming here and then all of a sudden they go out and say, we don't want to charge you for this, but the city council's making us. I want to make sure everybody in the public and the news media understands you brought this to us. We didn't ask you to go find this revenue source.
We're just looking for ways as a department to
understand that,
recover our
but you
costs.
guys have a way of hiding behind it after you implement it, and I don't want that to happen in this particular case.
I don't know what their position on this is, but I tell you, I wouldn't hide behind it. We just brought it simply because we think that it's an extraordinary level of service that we should
I wouldn't
recoup some
disagree, it's
costs.
not much difference in hazmat, but what are you gonna do when a guy's out there digging and he hits a gas line and the gas line's marked 4 feet off of where it's supposed to be? Whose fault is that? That's the utility company's fault, so then you're gonna get in the middle of that, you know that.
That's whoever marked it, exactly.
Well, I know,
And
but you're gonna be in the middle of that argument, you
I did
understand
receive a
that.
call that could change this in the future today from a representative of Mid-America who was interested in us just lumping on our costs onto the bill that they submit. So something like that might change it in the future, but something needs to happen.
All right. Go ahead, Dean. State your name and address.
Dean Bradham, Sioux City. If this thing does come to fruition, I would like to see that we're assured that this isn't going to go to residents. When you guys are gone and the next people come in, we forget about this, and then of course they can go ahead and charge anybody and everything. Maybe for the big events, and we maybe even decide what a big event is, but we need to ensure that the people ain't going to be charged for this. I feel we already pay for the service to begin with, and I just don't feel it's right. We might, make sure that it's recorded, that what the event is, and is it residents? How big of residents? It's for future, because as we know, we all come and go, and these things stay forever.
Well, that's pretty easy. You could make it be a trunk line rather than a service line.
I appreciate that. And what we did propose was,
If you just did it, if you exempted service lines, that would solve the problem you're talking about.
we basically just specified incidents lasting under 30 minutes, leaks occurring to above-ground piping inside buildings, and we can change language however you want, but the intent was to, the small leaks where we show up, Mid-America shows up, they fix the problem and we're gone, or we start cutting people loose, we're done.
And it sounds like the intent is there. I think to the gentleman's point, we just want to make sure
You bet.
the language is there as well. So do we want to make an amendment to that or change? What do we need to do, Mayor? Or what would you recommend?
Well, I think he's got it. I just,
Oh, is it okay?
by
then?
saying it that way, I think you're okay, because they're not gonna be there very long on a homeowner deal.
Does that make sense, sir?
It makes sense today. I've been in many, many meetings where.
Dean, you gotta
everybody
come to-
knows what's
you gotta
going on
come to-
Today, If it ain't recorded in the minutes or in the thing, it can be interpreted later on to be anything.
And it sounds like in the language it addresses it.
I haven't seen the language. All I see is this here, so I haven't seen it. If it's not addressed in the language though as no residential customer or a major event or the size of it, then it leaves it open for future for whatever. You know, your interpretation of that is different than mine. 10 years down the road, who knows? You know, but if it's in there, somebody's gonna be stuck for a bill later on when we wanna get nasty. So that's all. I just want to make sure we're protected. And it should be, you know, make sure it's in there.
It is.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Eight's a resolution authorizing the EMS Division of the Fire Rescue to accept a donation of 3 turbo UV ambulance small room sanitizers from the Healthcare Preparedness Coalition. 9's a resolution awarding a purchase order to Sioux City Ford for 5 2018 Ford Fusion sedans. 10 is a resolution amending the position classification manual and pay schedule for professional, administrative, technical, supervisory, executive, and council-appointed employees by adding a transit maintenance supervisor in the transit department. 11 is a resolution accepting a donation from the Parks and Recs Foundation for the Cone Park project. 12 are actions relating to grants. A is a resolution authorizing the Environmental Services Division to accept a Water Quality Initiative grant from the Iowa Department of Agriculture for the Water Quality Improvements Project at the Siouxland Expo Center. B is a resolution accepting the spring grant agreement between the Housing Trust Fund and the Missouri River Historical Development. C is a resolution authorizing the fire rescue to receive a spring grant from Missouri River Historical Development for personal protective equipment for fire suppression personnel. D is a resolution authorizing an airport improvement grant application to the FAA for reimbursable agreement for the runway 1735 reconstruction and shift project from the Sioux Gateway Airport. E is a resolution authorizing the police department to submit an application to the DOJ for grant funding to purchase body armor. 13 are actions relating to street closures. A is a resolution temporarily closing various streets in downtown area June 5th through the 17th, 2018 for the Firehouse Bar Weekend Biker Fun event. B, a resolution temporarily closing 4th Street from Nebraska to Jackson on June 7th, 21st, 28th, July 12th, 19th, and 26th, August 2nd, 9th, and 16th, 2018 for downtown live concerts. C is a resolution amending Resolution 2018-014 with temporary closures, various sections of Water and Pearl for the Hard Rock Casino's Battery Park Concert Series by adding additional dates and times.
I need to abstain on that item, Mayor.
14 are civil penalties and suspensions. A is a resolution assessing a $500 civil penalty against Miles Inn, 2622 Leach Avenue for violation of the Iowa beer, wine, and liquor laws, and we need to amend that.
Yes, the business provided proof today. They wish to exert an exemption because the employee involved in the sale had gone through the alcohol training class. Under the state code, they're allowed to essentially get a waiver of the fine for this offense. And so we would ask to withdraw the penalty and recognize the exemption that they're wishing to assert.
I'll move that.
Second.
Call the roll, please.
Moore?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Aye.
Greckin?
Aye.
B is a resolution of Whispering Creek Drive for violation of the Iowa beer and wine and liquor laws. Somebody will have to move that item.
Move it.
Second.
It's in the consent.
We're still in
isn't it?
consent.
I'm sorry.
You
I need to abstain.
Right.
Sorry.
Not very happy that they got one of those, so I'll be sure to go to the next board meeting. 15 are actions adopting construction documents. A is a resolution adopting plans and specs for the Rose Hill Alley Inlet Sidewalk and Curb Ramp Improvement Project. B is the resolution adopting plans and specs for the 2018 annual crack sealing project.
Actually, I'm sorry, I did have a question on the Rose Hill. Hi.
Hi there.
I apologize that I was not able to drive up there to look at it myself, but as far as those curb cuts, can we just make sure, I know some over on the, if I'm thinking in the area that it's in, it would be the going westward, down what, 14th? Is that 14th?
Yes.
I just want to make sure those curb cuts, we don't run into the same problem that Dave knows I've talked to him extensively about with the incline, trying to make them ADA when you only get 15 feet to do so.
You don't like Glen Avenue?
Well, no. The chair doesn't like Glen Avenue.
Okay,
I just
I'll
want
check
us
with the
to
engineer on that.
Please do that because when we tried doing the curb cuts, then you have 15 feet to try to make it ADA and get the right grade, and it just
Okay.
it made it worse.
On that hill, okay.
Yeah. So like I said, I wanted to drive out. I don't know where all the cuts are, but just make sure if they're on a steep incline, if you could please, because in that case, it was better to you could get an exemption and just improve the curb cut without having to try to meet that grade.
Okay, very good. We will check into that, for sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
C is a resolution adopting plans and specifications for the 2018 annual resurfacing project. D is a resolution adopting plans and specifications for the Bridgeport West Improvements Phase 5 and Phase 6 project. 16 are actions relating to bonds. A is a resolution authorizing the issuance of $20,615,000 worth of GO bonds, amending the levy of taxes, and approval of the tax exemption and continuing disclosure certificates. B is a resolution authorizing the issuance of $15,065,000 worth of taxable GO bonds, amending the levy of taxes, and approval of the continuing disclosure certificate. C is a resolution authorizing the issuance of $2,295,000 worth of GO urban renewal bonds, levying a tax, and approval of a tax exemption and continuing disclosure certificates. D is approval of an amendment to a loan and disbursement agreement with the Iowa Finance Authority and authorizing the reissuance of $9,329,000 worth of sewer revenue capital loan notes. 17 are actions relating to agreements and contracts. A is a resolution awarding a service provider agreement to AC&R Specialist to provide and install a new evaporative condenser at the IBP Ice Center. B is a resolution approving an amendment to the agreement with IDOT for Segment 2 of the I-29 reconstruction project. C is a resolution approving an amendment to the engineering services agreement with Walker Parking for the 2018 Discovery Park ramp project.
I had a question.
Go ahead.
Dave, I had just a question about it and maybe I'm missing something here, but would we have seen this amendment coming or this expansion of scope? It just seems that we went from the original contract of what, 20, right? 20,000 and then to have an additional expansion for another 11? I mean,
well, and I need to
take
take responsibility for that. I did the first initial agreement and I didn't know that there had been conversations with our engineers and Walker that our engineers were not qualified or comfortable doing the inspections.
Oh, okay.
So had I been aware of that, we could have included that at the very beginning.
Okay. And that's kind of why in the RCA, it mentioned that we felt it was out of the scope of our department.
Yes.
And that alluding to that.
Yes.
Because that was, and this is kind of a bigger question, just in the theory and philosophy of what we have is, if we had more personnel in engineering, could we cover a lot of these costs going forward? I mean, it seems that we'd have a lot of these amendments.
I don't have enough parking ramp work to do and structural
But
work.
would someone else be able to do other items that we have, I guess, not saying just this specifically?
Well, you always, if you had more personnel, we could cover more items, yeah. But I mean, I think the staff at levels that we're at and consulting the work out is the better way to go.
Makes sense. Thank you.
D is a resolution approving an amendment to the paratransit contract for demand response origin to destination service of the Siouxland Regional Transit System. 18 are actions authorizing the issuance of checks. A is a resolution authorizing the final payment to HCI Construction for the Zenith Water Facility Structural Preservation Project. B is a resolution authorizing final payment to Christensen Company for the 2017 Cone Park Splash Pad and Ice Rink Project. 19 are actions relating to property. A is a resolution approving an amendment to the development agreement with GKD for property at the northeast corner of Floyd Boulevard and Outer Drive. B is a resolution inviting proposals for the sale of land in the combined Floyd River urban renewal area, accepting the proposal of GKD and scheduling a hearing, property at 3240 and a half Floyd Boulevard. C is a resolution proposing to sell property in the alley between 1011 Helen and 1021 Alice Street. The petitioner is Donald Grant Construction. D is a resolution proposing to sell property at 1618 West 14th Street. The petitioner is Fernando and Angelica, man, I can't get it, Franco. E is a resolution proposing to sell 1620 West 14th Street. The petitioners are Eduardo and Candy Sanchez. F is a resolution proposing to sell property at 1624 West 4th Street. The petitioner is Marco A. Gonzalez. G is granting a resolution granting a permit to Fibercon to own and operate and maintain underground cable in the 18th Street between Pierce and Douglas and 21st at Jackson.
I need to abstain on that item, Mayor.
20 are applications for cigarette, tobacco, nicotine, vapor permits. See the list. Do you have any questions? 21 are applications for beer and liquor license. See the list. Come forward if you have any questions. 22 are receipt of minutes. See the list. Come forward if you have any questions. Anyone to be heard on any of those items, please come forward.
I need to abstain on the beer and liquor licenses for Hard Rock, be 21A1, A and B, and 21B, 1A, and 3A. I think I've got them all.
All of them, all of the Hard Rock.
All of the
items.
Hard Rock
Okay.
ones, yes,
I've got
please.
it, thank you.
See, ends over, what's the other one across the street from them for their temporary outdoor permit? Did they give up on that?
It's not disabled round is voting panel. I'm gonna call the vote out loud and then I'll fix it for the rest of the items. Moore?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Aye.
Greckin?
Aye.
Thank you.
23 is a hearing and ordinance rezoning 205 Pearl Street. Petitioner, City of Sioux City. P and Z recommends approval. First consideration passed May 21st, 2018. I'll move second reading.
Second.
Just one moment here.
Are you ready that quick?
I am now.
I'm going to abstain on that one for conflict of interest. You doing all right?
Yeah.
Alex.
What's your deal?
No, I'm good.
Got them all?
Mm-hmm.
Passes 3-0. Anybody opposed waiving the rule?
We don't.
Can't waive the rule. 24 is a hearing and ordinance adopting a site plan for 205 Pearl Street and 111 3rd Street. Petitioners SC Partners. P and Z recommends approval with conditions. First consideration passed May 21st, 2018. I'll move second reading.
Second.
Vacating the alley at 19th, Nebraska, 20th, and Jackson Streets. Petitioner, Sioux City Community School District. P and Z recommends approval. We couldn't give 3 readings of that today anyway, right?
On 23 and 24.
Yeah, 25. Because Dan's going to have to abstain.
That's right.
So I'll move first reading.
Susan Stewart, Chair Planning and Zoning. This is a street vacation, and it was passed unanimously by Planning and Zoning. I'm not even sure any of the commissioners had any questions about the item.
Passes 3-1. I'll vote, and Mr. Moore abstains. I'll vote aye today, but I'm still waiting for that memo telling me all the things we got. I've been waiting for a month. for all the things that we got as a result of this trade, that I know exactly what we got, but I'd like to at least have the memo say that we didn't get anything. 26 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and specifications for the runway 1735 reconstruction and shift taxiway B, C, and D and reconstruction project, Sioux Gateway Airport. I'll move it.
Second.
Passes 4-0. 27 is a hearing and resolution approving the lease of property in the Riverside Recreational Sports Complex of the Miracle League for a Miracle Field and inclusive playground. I'll move it.
Second. How does this one differ from the last lease that we approved?
Taking over the restrooms, the city is, because they were getting all dinged up and everything.
Okay,
Rather than build another one, we already have it that way.
okay. That makes sense.
Passes 4-0. 28 is a hearing and resolution accepting the proposal of one-side development for the purchase of land in combined Floyd River Urban Renewal Area and approving the development and minimum assessment agreement. I'll move it.
Second.
Passes 4-0. 29 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and specs for the convention center parking deck project.
I'll move it.
Second. I found you.
Alex, okay, thank you. It must have been.
It passes 3-1. I vote no. 30 is a hearing and resolution approving plans and spec construction of the convention center renovation project.
I'll move it.
Second.
Passes 3-1. I vote no. 31 is an ordinance amending Title 26 of the Municipal Code by repealing chapters in the urban revitalization areas have expired. I'll move it.
Second.
Four zero. Is anybody opposed to waiving the statutory rule?
No.
Yeah, we can if we have four.
If Dan votes.
Oh, Dan.
Yeah. No objection.
Move it.
Second.
Moore,
Aye.
Scott,
Aye.
Waters,
Aye.
Greckin.
Aye.
I'll move second, third.
Second.
I don't know, I'm hitting it.
Hmm?
I am hitting it, just
No, it took it.
sometimes it goes. I think we're good now. right?
Yeah, it went through.
Passes 4-0. 32 is a resolution approving a service provider agreement with Downrange Construction for the underground utilities field service facility project deferred from May 21st, 2018. I'll move it.
Second.
And this is the one we talked about last week, or last time.
2 weeks ago.
Passes 3-1. Mr. Waters votes no. 33 is a resolution awarding a 3-year contract to Hannah Inc. to provide animal control services. I'll move it.
Second.
I had some questions about this one.
Hi,
Lisa Clays, Police Department.
Hey, I just wanted to ask about these costs because I've never done this or had this before me.
Okay.
Can we talk about some of the costs and just, is this normal across the board for municipalities to pay this much per month? It just seems excessive to me, but maybe I'm totally wrong on that. Is that normal for our size? I'm sure they're working a lot.
I haven't checked with other departments, Bureau of You, but I think it's pretty normal. It went up a little bit this time because of some requirements that City Legal requested regarding training for the animal control officers, so.
Yeah, and that, I read that in the RCA as well, that it was the additional increase was their entire staff had to go through certain training.
Yes.
The only worry that I had was, assuming that it's just for that training, each year it's an additional $53,000 for the next 3 years. And so it's gonna cost us $160,000 for that training. Is that?
Yes, that's accurate.
I am in the wrong business. I need to open up some of this. The only other question that I had was, do we know why the other companies didn't bid or other companies don't?
Have no idea. In fact, I think we sent it to more than we ever have in the past.
We did. And then we also posted it in the Journal too. We sent it to primarily all the vet clinics, and then we also sent it to a couple other vendors, in addition to posting it in the Journal.
Okay.
I don't know.
I think we get excellent service.
I do too.
from
Yes,
the-
absolutely.
I mean,
I hope I'm not implying.
Yeah, I mean, not only friends and citizens I've talked with, it's excellent service, but I mean, on a personal level, for me, they've just been outstanding. They're very responsive, very responsible, and I've had clients in the same boat, so, I mean, I think we're really getting what we're paying for with excellent service, and it's.
How many years of service?
It's been that way.
Oh, I shouldn't have made you say that, should I?
I started when I was 2, so.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, I'm just curious about the mandatory training, though. What is it that do you send them to, somebody comes in and provides?
That was a request from City Legal based on, and I don't know, Amber, if you want to come and speak to that, but it's in regards to some hearings that they've had, and then there were questions as to their training, so.
Oh, okay.
Amber Haggerty, Assistant City Attorney. We just believe it would be to the benefit of the city to make sure that the officers are undergoing annual training to make sure that everyone's up to speed as far as their contact with the public, their ability to handle the animals, their professionalism. Captain Clay's also recommended that we include them in some training that the officers do that we thought was a really good idea, but it did add a little bit to the cost, but we think it'll be a benefit for the service that we receive.
Who will design that program?
We've given them a couple of different options. There is a national company that provides training. There's a few other options we given to them that are comparable because we did have an eye to the cost. We don't want to require them to send 2 or 3 of their employees off at one time. We're also looking at a company that will come in and train them all at once, as well as the possibility that perhaps Cindy Rarick herself could get certified as a trainer, which would be another benefit to us. To have her actually be doing the training. And so we've had a discussion with her about doing that as well.
Well, good. Thank you.
Perfect.
That concludes the regular agenda.
Vote.
One moment, I'm still waiting for one vote.
Waiting for one vote, Mayor. I wonder who that could be.
Passes 4-0. Citizen concerns. Are there any citizens that want to be heard?
None?
None? Council, Pete.
All I wanted to do real quickly was to thank MERD for the 2 grants that were on the agenda tonight for the improvements to homes owned by the elderly and for the equipment for the Sioux City Fire Rescue. MERD has done many good things over the years, and I know people appreciate that, but I wanted to throw in my thanks and for what they do for the city as well. So that really is important to get both public and private collaboration to help the city do the things they need to do. So I just a big thank you to MERD, and I appreciate all that they do for the Siouxland community. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Alex?
Are you scared to ask? I feel like I have a million things that are coming up this week just to let people know or bring awareness to. Number one, I would say, is the Citizens Academy graduation is tomorrow night, something that I personally am very much so looking forward to. I've been lucky enough to be a part of this class. It's a tremendous experience. If you're interested at all, I would encourage you to apply in future years and sessions. It truly is an incredible experience and just an opportunity to learn so much more about the great work that our police force is doing. So that graduation ceremony is tomorrow night. Then let's see, on Wednesday, the 6th, Sioux City Go, the Sioux City Growth Organization, is actually having music bingo. We've had it a few different times. So if you're a young professional looking to get involved, or if you're involved with a company and you know young professionals that might want to get involved, I would definitely send them to, it's going to be at Doc's Warehouse Bar, 6:30 to 8:30. And let's see, on Thursday, the 7th, is Sculpt Siouxland is having their annual celebration. That's actually at the Art Center. That is from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. There'll be hors d'oeuvres. You'll see some of the new artwork that's going to be downtown. There's also a silent auction. Then from 6 to 8, somewhere around there, is it the First Downtown Live? First Downtown Live, so make sure to come check out some live music down there. It's right on the lawn of the Public Museum. At 7 p.m., I think it's from 7 to 8 or 7 to 9, at Bodega, there is the Tanzania book. If you council will remember, we actually invited them here to talk a little bit about their story. Was there a proclamation, right, that was made? They developed a book, and they will be doing a book signing at Bodega. Friday is the Leeds Parade, as well as Food Truck Friday. So if you want to come cheer on your council in the Leeds Parade.
You're gonna miss that?
I'm gonna miss it, and I feel terrible.
Yeah.
I'll drive you.
Okay.
I'm gonna feel terrible.
I'll get a tow rope and I'll tow the two of you.
You could, I'm sure.
It's a great,
Yeah, right?
It's a great parade, and don't say
It
it. It's a
is.
great parade, though.
There's no such thing as a bad parade for you, Mr. Moore.
No, they're all great.
You
Is
know
there
why
any way
they
I
think,
can-
you know why he says it's great, don't you?
I know.
Because the last parade, they kept calling him Bob.
Yeah. Morningside Days Parade, everybody's calling me, hi, Bob.
It might have been something to do. Were you wearing a shirt that said mayor? Pro tip.
It was that week.
When I give a famous speech, right?
On Saturday, there is a Pride picnic that's in Chris Larson Park. And
There's a Bandit game to secure home field advantage, too.
yeah, there you go. I'm gonna miss that. Is that on Saturday, right? On Saturday, make sure you go to the Bandits game.
It is military night. All
And isn't it-
former and present military people get in for free.
Night, so.
You had that on your list.
Exactly. Well, actually, I didn't have it on my list because I
had
leave Saturday.
No, he didn't.
I'm gonna be gone for a week.
But I'll
on
get you guys
Saturday.
tickets if anybody wants any.
So I won't be here next week, so the council concerns will be much shorter, so I apologize. But I'll be making the trip out to the hospital to have a checkup, so.
Good
That's
luck.
all I have, Mayor.
Okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, just a couple of things. I'm glad the mayor's back. I really am, and you held up really, really well.
So far.
Today, so far. You're saying, come on, wrap it up, Mr. Moore. No, on behalf of the citizens and residents who used to live here and came back on Memorial Day, I just publicly want to apologize for the way the Floyd Cemetery was. I've talked with Mr. Salvatore about that. We're extremely sorry, that's Memorial Day weekend is the time we need to showcase our cemeteries and our towns, and people come back to pay the respects, and it's unfortunate that happened, and we got to promise it'll never happen again, because it's just not good. It's not good for the public, it's not good for the community. So I just want to apologize, because I go to cemeteries to visit loved ones, And the towns I go to, I really do, right or wrong, I judge them by how nice their cemeteries are maintained, because that's a respect thing for me, so.
Mr. Moore,
Yes,
if I
sir.
may, just so Matt knows, but on the other side of the coin, my parents are buried in Graceland, and Graceland looked great. Thank you for that.
And
I
they all
know they
should,
worked hard.
they all should look great.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, they all should look great. Last Friday, I attended, in the morning, I represented the council and the mayor at the Indian Health Services meeting that SHIP had sponsored.
Thank you.
Yeah, and it was really, really a good meeting. I think we're going to see a lot of good things come out of that. The officials from Indian Health Services spoke, and those that spoke, the police chief did a great job making the presentation, but what I got from it as an elected official or as a council member is that they talked about we want cities and we want city councils in particular to be compassionate and open-minded. And I assured them that we're every bit of that on this council. This council is extremely compassionate. We're very open-minded, and things just aren't going well, and we need to make some changes and turn that around. So I did my best to represent all of you at that event. Something I cannot attend, I attended the first one, but I cannot attend this one, is the next Community Health Needs Assessment Meeting is this Wednesday from 8:45 till 11 in the morning at Briarcliff University. And I apologize ahead of time, but I'm just not going to be able to make that one. And I don't know if we have any council members that
What's the date again?
can go to that. June 6th, it'll be Wednesday from 8:45 till 11. And it's really a really good meeting to attend for community health needs. It's good discussion. I think that is all we have, and I'm very, very sorry. I'm going to apologize to the people of Leeds that I will not be at the parade, but I think it's the first parade I'm missing in 5 years. I wish there's some way I could Skype in or something. Can you get that in your vehicle?
Oh my gosh, a cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
Can we get a flat Dan?
So you guys have fun. It's a fun event. And the reason why, I'm just going to repeat myself one more time. Part of the reason I love parades is because in Morningside days, I mean, this was really true, it wasn't, Pete? The numbers of people in our community that come out for that, and it's a celebration, and it's a way to celebrate our community and all the positive things we have. We have a lot of issues in Sioux City, but every Sioux City has issues. It depends on your attitude and how you tackle them, how you deal with them. But at parades in particular, you've got kids from one, just really, it's just remarkable. So that's part of my love for parades. So thank you very much. And Mayor, again, welcome back, and that's all I have.
It's good to be back. I was, don't think I would have been in any shape to make the Morningside Day Parade. I apologize for that, and I want to reiterate what Mr. Moore said. It's unacceptable and not taking shots that we don't always have control over, but in the future, we just need to monitor that situation, because I just think it's really a tragedy when people go to decorate their relatives' graves and that kind of thing happens. So we'll make sure we do a better job in the future, and I know we will. Thank you guys for covering for me. I think you'll continue to do a little bit of that. I'm not 100% yet. I found that out today. So with that, I'm going to move we adjourn.
Second.
Scott?
Aye.
Waters?
Hi.
Brecken?
Aye.
Moore?
Aye.
Hey, Matt.